My
Go ahead.
questions are for Beth Lowell. So we're having a double online here, online senator and online witness. I'm very happy that Oceana is a part of this hearing, and I want to particularly thank Chairman Wyden for making sure that Oceana was a part of this hearing. Very often, in fact, almost without exception, on the occasions in which we get environmental conditions into trade agreements, the enforcement somehow manages never to appear. And I think the focus of this committee on the oceans provisions of the USMCA is very helpful, and I'm grateful to the chairman for doing that, and grateful to you, Ms. Lowell, for testifying today. Your testimony focuses primarily on fisheries, and I'd like to get to that in a moment. But the USMCA also has a provision on marine litter, which is the language for marine plastic waste. By the way, I gather Paulita Bennett-Martin has just moved up to a plastics position at Oceana, which I'm very happy about, so congratulations. In Oceana's view, what has actually been accomplished pursuant to the marine litter provisions of the USMCA? Is there a place where we can identify a reduced pound of marine plastic waste as a result of this agreement and the enforcement provisions of it, or is most of that work ahead of us?
Thanks. It's good to see you today. I would say that we are very thankful for the investments that the USMCA implementing language had on marine debris, invested $8 million to help address the problem. We hope that Canada and Mexico are mirroring that with additional investments in their own countries. As we know, marine debris, marine litter is a huge problem. The flow of plastics into our ocean is just creating a storm out there. The latest studies that we've seen on some of the cleanups have been since 2019. So I really can't see what happened in 2020. But in 2019, from the coastal cleanups around the world, the most prominent items on the beach, the top 10 found, were things like single-use plastics, like chip wrappers, bottle caps, stirrers, straws, lids, plates. That type of single-use plastic is really something that our countries could actually reduce the flow of pollutions in the water. We really need to reduce the production and use of single-use plastics. And, the provisions in the USMCA don't require that, but it's something our countries could work collaboratively to address a problem that impacts not only our countries, but the health of the oceans.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think it's good that the USMCA mentioned marine litter, and it's good that there's funding, but I don't think we're at a point yet where we can identify a single pound of plastic that has been kept out of the oceans as a result of anything that has been done yet. So I think we continue to have a call to action as our oceans fill more and more and more with plastic waste that tends not to biodegrade. So over to your issue of fisheries. We've been focusing in the National Defense Authorization Acts on trying to improve the information flow to those who are trying to combat IUU fishing. And we're having, I would say, only moderate success. The Navy was not interested at all. The Coast Guard is somewhat interested. But as you know, there's quite a robust private and non-governmental network out there, led in many respects by Vulcan, to help provide information to people who are doing IUU enforcement. And we'd like to do what we can to strengthen that, if you have any advice on that. And second, we see China as a very significant abuser of fisheries all around the country. I traveled a lot with Senator McCain, and we went to at various times the Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and in every one of those countries, when we raised the issue of fishing, they were very upset at the way Chinese fishing vessels were behaving in their fishing waters, and the extent to which Chinese military and Coast Guard vessels provided physical protection for vessels that were fishing illegally. and that there were actually encounters between their sovereign vessels and Chinese sovereign vessels trying to interfere with enforcement in their waters. And there are other countries like East Timor that have communicated with us their same concerns. Could you comment a little bit on what we need to do next on IUU fishing?
Yeah, so really, I think transparency and documentation of fish products is primary. We really need to get every fish coming into the U.S. reporting who caught it, where they caught it, how they caught it, their authorization to ensure that legality is a condition of import. And then also transparency so that we can see where those vessels are, verify the information comes in, so that only fish that's legally caught and produced without using forced labor or other human rights abuses actually makes it into the U.S. And, you know, on the China issue, I really do think fishery subsidies is a way to get to the Chinese fleet as well. We were happy to see the subsidies language in the USMCA and really encourage the U.S. to continue negotiations at the WTO to put stronger disciplines on fishery subsidies. That's really driving the overcapacity of the distant water fishing fleets that are fishing right outside of coastal nations that don't have the ability to enforce their own waters. Some are IUU fishing, and it really undermines U.S. fishermen that are very heavily regulated, that have some of the strongest management measures in the world, are competing in a marketplace with IUU fishing and the subsidized distant water fishing fleets.
Yeah, it's just not fair. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.